Hey there, guitar fanatics. Today I am teaching you 3 super sick blues licks guaranteed to impress the audience at your next gig or blues jam session. Or at least you can go and freak out a few folks at the local guitar store. You know, the blues is such an awesome music to play, and hot rodding things is such a fun way to play it. I'm really fired up to show you this stuff, so let's dig right in, play some guitar. So we're going to be learning some really flashy licks over a funky blues backing track in C. And this kind of groove, it always makes me think of the great Freddie King. Now, if you've played much blues, you'll know that there are a couple spots in a 12-bar blues that are especially ripe for playing something adventurous, flashy, or even a little bit outside. We want to focus on the spots where the chords change. Bar 4 going into bar 5, where we go from the 1 chord to the 4 chord, is a big one. As is going from bar 6 into bar 7, where we go back from the 4 chord to the 1 chord. These are spots where you'll hear players like Robin Ford or Josh Smith really turn up the heat. And we're going to be learning more than just licks today. We're going to be learning passages that cover bar 4 through bar 8 of a 12-bar blues. And each one is made up of multiple phrases. You're actually going to end up getting over a dozen new licks. So a lot of material to use in this video. Let's go ahead and get started with this first passage, and we're going to call it Tritone Triads. Here's the trick behind the opening lick. We're starting on the downbeat of bar 4, and we're going to play a C major triad starting at the 8th fret of the low E string. And then we're going to go up a triad. Now, a triad is a note 2 minor thirds or 6 frets above C, so that takes us up to G flat. Now, there's a G flat at the 9th fret of the A string, so we're going to play a G flat major triad. We're going to follow that up with the C major triad with the C root at the 10th fret of the D string. Then we're going to play G flat major again with the root at the 11th fret of the G string. And then one last C major triad with the root at the 13th fret of the B string. And we play 4 notes there in that last C major triad because we play the notes C, E, G, and we go back to the E. So far, we've got this. If we put the 2 triads together, we get the notes C, D flat, E, G flat, G, and B flat, which happens to be 6 notes of the half-whole diminished scale. So I stumbled onto this little scale years ago when I was making a very poor attempt to come up with something that sounded like Allen Holdsworth. And I realized it's just another way of getting that diminished sound that Robin Ford loves to use going from the 1 chord to the 4 chord. So then, over the 4 chord, which is F7, we're going to play something a little more traditional bluesy. We're going to play a little pedal point thing with F to C, G to C, and then we're going to bend that G up the 15th fret up a whole step. We're going to hit that bend again and release it. Play the F, followed by E flat at the 16th fret of the B string, F at the 13th fret of the E string again. We're going to go back to that E flat on the B string and slide up a whole step to F at fret 18. Then we're going to do a little 16th note triplet at fret 16 and 18 of the B string and fret 16 of the E string. Those are the notes E flat, F, and A flat. Then we're going to grab the B flat at fret 18 and bend it up a whole step. And play the A flat at fret 16, and we're going to bend that up ever so slightly. And we're going to end the lick with the F at fret 18 of the B string. And this little lick is actually an Albert King lick that Stevie Ray Vaughan stole and he used all the time in his playing. But we're hiding it in with some flashier stuff, so we kind of disguise it. And now we're back to the 1 chord for bars 7 and 8, and here's our big finale. We're going to play a sequence with symmetrical fingering that's a mixture of C major blues scale and C minor pentatonic scale. Everything up to the end of the lick is happening on frets 20 and 17. So we're going to play frets 20 and 17 on the E and B strings. Go to fret 17 to the E string. We're going to play frets 20 and 17 on the B string, followed by fret 20 on the G string. So there's our sequence. So we play it on the B, G, and D strings, then on the G, D, and A strings. And then we're going to finish the lick with E flat, E, and C. It frets 18 and 19 on the A string and fret 20 on the low E. So that's the minor third, major third, and the root. So I guess there's at least 4 distinct licks in this one. Let me go through it slowly. We've got our tritone triads. Pedal point and a bend. Our Albert King Stevie Ray Vaughan lick. And then our hybrid blues pentatonic scale sequence. Now I'm going to fire up the backing track and play this whole passage up to speed for you. Here we go. So we're off to a roaring start. I hope you're not tired already because I'm just getting warmed up here. Let's get into passage number 2, which I'm going to call Whole Lotta WholeTones. The WholeTone scale is just what the name sounds like. It's a symmetrical 6-note scale where all the notes are a whole step or 2 frets on the guitar apart. And it gives us this spacey kind of sound. The notes of the WholeTone scale, if we started on C, are C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. And in those notes are actually 2 augmented triads. We've got C augmented triad with C, E, and G sharp, and then D augmented with D, F sharp, and A sharp. Now, the augmented scale sort of creeps me out, but it can also sound pretty cool. We start this lick on the last half of the 4th beat of measure 3 by playing a 16th note triplet on the B and E strings, frets 8 and 11 on the B string, and fret 8 of the E string. So that's G, B flat, and C. Next comes our whole tone lick, and we're using the E, D, and C at frets 12, 10, and 8 of the E string. Then we've got A, G sharp, F sharp, and E. It frets 11 and 9 of the B and G strings. Then we've got C and A sharp at frets 10 and 8 of the D string, and F sharp at fret 9 of the A string. And we resolve to the F chord by playing A sharp, A, and F. And those notes alone sound pretty cool with the outside whole tone scale thing resolving to the F chord. But we're gonna hot rod things even more by playing an Eric Johnson style run with the whole tone part. After our lead in triplet, we play 4 16th notes at frets 12, 10, and 8 on the E string, and then fret 11 on the B string. Then we go into groupings of 5. The first one is going to be frets 10 and 8 on the E string, frets 11 and 9 on the B string, and fret 11 on the G string. That's followed by frets 11 and 9 on the B and G strings, fret 10 on the D string. The next grouping is going to be frets 11 and 9 on the G, 10 and 8 on the D, ending with fret 9 on the A string. Now that's an F sharp, and we're going to transition to our F7 chord by playing A sharp, A, and F. Here's the whole sequence. Now, I just used pull-offs to play it, and you want to make sure you're articulating those really well so they're nice and snappy. Now, going to that F7, the A sharp, A, and F happen on the first beat of measure 5 of our 12-bar form. And over that F7, we're going to use a little major pentatonic action for the next section. We're going to slide into the 12th fret of the A string, play frets 10, 12, and 10 of the D string, fret 10 of the G string, and bend fret 12 up a whole step. And the entire 6th measure, the second measure over that F chord, we're going to play 16th notes. We're going to play chromatically from fret 10 to fret 13 of the B string. Then fret 10 of the E, fret 13 of the B string again, then frets 13 and 10 of the E string. We're going to follow that with 2 inversions of a diminished arpeggio. This familiar shape, we've got frets 14, 11 on the E string, 13 on the B string, and 14 on the G string. Then we're going to slide that up 3 frets. And now, after all that flash, we're going to end it up with some bluesy bends. We're going to play the 18th fret of the E string. We're going to pull off to fret 17 and bend that fret up a half step. Then we're going to play frets 18, 17, 15, fret 18 of the B string, and then fret 15 of the E string again. We're going to play fret 16 of the B string, which is E flat or the minor third of C, and we're going to bend it up to the major third. We're going to do that little double stop twice more. Then we're going to hit the G at fret 15 of the E string one last time, followed by the C at fret 17 of the G string. It's always great to bring it back to something bluesy. And so this passage, it's got 4 distinct parts in my mind. We've got our whole tone lick, our pentatonic lick with chromatics, followed by our diminished arpeggios, and then the bluesy lick at the end. Let me put that all together and play it over the backing track. Check it out. Okay, I hope you can handle one more because here it comes. And we're going to call this last passage Altered States because it contains a really slick altered scale lick. Now you may have heard the altered scale also referred to as superlocrian. It's the 7th mode of melodic minor. Now this means that C altered would be the 7th mode of D flat melodic minor, and it has the notes C, D flat, E flat, E, G flat, A flat, B flat, and then we'd be back to C. And all of those passing notes give us a great outside sound. And we can play a cool sounding lick going from C7 to F7 just using the altered scale. The way the scale's constructed, there are several notes that are just a half step away from the chord tones of F7. There's even that G-flat triad from our first passage that featured the tritone scale. But we want to make up a tasty lick, not just run scales. So we're going to come in on the third beat of measure 4 of our 12 bars. That's where we're about to transition to the F chord in measure 5. And we're going to play a series of 8 16th notes. Frets 11, 12, 11 on the E string. Frets 14, 13, and 11 on the B string. Then fret 11 on the G and D strings. And so those notes are E flat, E, E flat, D flat, C at B flat, G flat, D flat again. And those last 3 notes make up that G flat triad. And from this D flat, we've got an easy half step move to C at the 10th fret of the D string, and that's a chord tone of F. Next, we're going to play a lick made up of the F major blues scales. Now, we had just gone to the 10th fret of the D string. Next, we're going to go to the 13th fret of the A string, back to the 10th fret of the D, then frets 11 and 12 on the A string. That's A flat and A, which are the minor third and major third of F7. Frets 10, 12, 10 on the D string. That's C, D, and C. Play the F at fret 10 of the G string, and then bend the G at fret 12 of the G string up a whole step to A. And here comes another F major blues scale lick. We're going to bend the 12th fret of the G string up a whole step again. Play the unison note at fret 10 of the B string, and then the D at fret 10 of the E string. Hit the 10th fret of the B string, fret 13 of the B string, followed by the 10th fret again. Then the A flat at fret 13 of the G string, A at fret 10 of the B string. Next we play frets 13, 12, and 10 on the G string. Those notes are A flat, G, and F, so that was the flat third, second, and the root. Play frets 12 on the D, G, and D strings. And the section is going to end with the F at fret 10 of the G string. And those 2 bars over the F chord, they're all the F major blues scales, and to me it sounds like Allman Brothers or almost countryish. We're going to go further down that lane over the C7 chord by playing a cliché descending series of 6th intervals. Before ending with a Chuck Berry-ish lick at the 5th fret, then hitting the C at the 8th fret of the high E, and sliding into the C at fret 13 of the B string. So this passage actually has 5 licks to it. The altered scale part going from C7 to F7, the Southern Rocky part 1, part 2, then back to the C7 chord with our descending 6. And the ending. Here's that whole thing up to tempo over the backing track. So there you have it, 3 flashy 4-bar blues passages, each containing multiple licks. I think there was over a dozen distinct licks in there, and they're hot-rodded and different sounding. Get them down tight and then go play them loud and proud at your next gig, your next jam session, or like I mentioned, go freak some folks out at the local music store. Now, if you're just getting into blues soloing, I've got an awesome course on mastering pentatonic scales and blues licks, or come join my Patreon page where we get more in depth with all sorts of lead guitar topics. Links are in the description below, and I appreciate you watching and supporting the channel. Until next time, work hard, play hard, and have fun with that guitar. See ya.